Good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Rick, Broadman Baptist Church, and this is the Broadman Word for the 3rd of September, 2021. Hard to believe we're rushing through September already. Fall starts officially on September 22nd, so we are running out of summer. Listen, today I want to talk to you about empathy. It's not something that is necessarily natural to a lot of us, or we always want to feel it. And certainly want others to feel like we care about them. But empathy is not easily done correctly, particularly in situations of grieving, when we don't really know what to do. Empathy is not feeling something, it's feeling with people, which is different. It is a thing that drives a connection, and there's really four qualities of empathy. The first one is that you have to take the perspective of the other person. You can't really be empathetic if you're not in their position, at least theoretically. And then secondly, we don't want to judge the person. There's nothing that's going to help them with whatever their situation is through that. And then we have to recognize the emotion in the other person. Hopefully, when we took their perspective and tried to understand the situation from there, we were able to get a little insight into it that then should be able to help us recognize the emotion that they might be having. And then communicating true understanding of their emotion to them, so that they feel like there's somebody there with them, somebody in it with them, or at least somebody who understands. So those four things need to be first in our minds when we're trying to be empathetic or express empathy. We need to be able to try to get into the other person's frame of reference. We need to, at that time, take them exactly as they are and try to sense what they're feeling and try to convey that you know what they're going through, or at least you feel what they're going through, that you can understand. And that's really all that needs to be done. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. But a lot of us are programmed to be fixers and doers. Particularly men are more towards that category, but there's still a lot of folks out there that are fixers and doers. Empathy is not such an easy thing for these folks because we don't always know how to express or get into the other person's emotion, how to gain their perspective so that you can properly have the empathy that you need. So when we see somebody hurting, we say things like, "I know how you feel." Well, I mean, do you really? I mean, unless you're in their situation at their time, or you've tried to apply those four qualities of empathy first, you may be well-intentioned, but you're not really there, and perhaps actually don't know how they feel. What we should do is use statements like, "Let me help you," or "I'll be here for you." Things as long as you mean it and you can pull it off, then those are good statements. But the "I know what you're feeling" is not necessarily the best thing. And then, of course, doers and fixers always want to try to make things better. And so while well-intended, they can actually do the opposite and end up with the person not being empathetic and the person needing help not really getting it. I guess the best place we could look to see true empathy and the power and wisdom of being empathetic is if you watch friends and family members comfort a grieving person after the loss of a spouse or somebody close. When the friends and family are there, who can feel it with them, who can cry with them, and who don't judge their situation in any way, who can give the person the freedom to have despair and pain and unfortunately to be questioning God and all of this, and to let the individual know that they feel the pain that you feel the pain that they're going through. Everybody else, or who's not in that position, who are using what equates to spiritual platitudes or trying to get the person to move on, is not really working through empathy, not really being empathetic. They're just trying to fix the situation or do something for the person, but not truly being helpful. So we can get even more specific with this. We can drill this down to day-to-day situations with people in general. People don't need us to fix them. They need us to feel them. If you're going to fix anything, you first have to have the individual's perspective on it. You have to be able to feel what they're feeling. And then they can choose to look at things differently. They can choose to believe things differently than what they really are, and then to behave in different ways. But you can't do it for them. And very few of us have the oral wisdom, the words, by the way, to make a true difference academically. It has to be an empathetic set of words or phrases coming from a true place of understanding to be of any value to somebody who needs them. So we, then, as people, need to keep in mind these 4 principles. We can be more empathetic, and in this world, with all that's going on, all the place, all the time, empathy is high on the list of our skill sets to be developed. If we want to help people badly enough, then we're going to learn first to maybe keep our mouths a little quieter than they are in times of need of someone else. And secondly, to take the perspective of another person, to not judge the person, to recognize the emotion in the other person, and then through those 3 things, be able to come up to a place of number 4, which is to communicate true understanding of their emotion. I have a scripture for you, Romans 12:15. Here we go. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. And in so doing, please try to be truly empathetic. We all need to be much closer to each other, much more empathetic to each other's situations. And we need to be nice and loving, showing the love of Christ as his ambassadors. Listen, I hope you have a wonderful day. It is a marvelous day to be a Christian, and I love you. I'll talk to you next time.